This is a public health announcement brought to you by Heather Shepard,
the Primal Pioneer. Live an outdoor life.
This is the Primal Pioneer podcast, a show dedicated to helping you achieve optimal health by making radical lifestyle, dietary, and environmental shifts to support forward movement with your health. I'm your host, Heather Shepard, radical health practitioner, gut health specialist, and homeopathic doctor in training. When I was 23 years old, I suffered a TBI, otherwise known as a traumatic brain injury. This event shifted my life from being a super athletic type A kind of person to being completely sidelined from physical activity for nearly 12 years. During that time, I tried every modality under the sun, desperately yearning, trying, and hoping to get better. It wasn't until I stepped outside of the conventional medical model and even much of the alternative medical model that I saw real, lasting progress with my health. Today, I help thousands of people overcome both acute and chronic ailments using my nature and science-based radical approach to health, which targets the most important yet most overlooked aspects of health and wellness. Today's episode is all about healing. During this episode, I talk about many realms of health and healing, including how to tell if your body is moving towards a state of improved health, how to tell if the treatments you're engaged in are actually improving your health, how to tell if the treatments you're investing time, money, and energy in are hopefully not, but possibly depleting your health. I talk about Western medicine and other medicines that suppress versus move the body towards its cure. And I talk about the healing potential and possibilities of homeopathy. And if you're using homeopathy, how to tell if the remedy you're taking is moving you towards an improved state of health. Enjoy. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the show. Today, I'm excited to talk with you all about healing. What does healing actually look like? What does it mean? How do you know if your body is actually moving forward with its healing process as a result of the modalities or therapies that you are engaging in? And today we're going to deep dive into that. I'm specifically going to use homeopathy as an example because it has this profound ability to access and remove deep layers of pathology. So we're going to dive into this topic, and I'm going to teach you how you can learn and tell if your symptoms where they're leading you and how they might be guiding your healing process if your health is actually improving. Because typically we all bump up against symptoms, right? This is just a part of life. We get a cold, we get a cough, we have a runny nose, we get allergies, we struggle with poor gut health. You know, our body is unique with regard to the symptoms that it expresses. And once our symptoms get to a point where it's bothersome or annoying, or we just feel a little bit like, hey, I think I need to check this out, we typically seek out treatments that help our symptoms go away. However, what I'm going to explain during this episode is that even when your symptoms go away, it doesn't always mean that your health is actually improving. And this is key to really grasp this concept because it's going to teach you how to tell in your own body whether you are moving towards a state of improved health or whether you're just standing still and treading water with your health, or if you are actually reverting and going backwards with your healing process. So throughout this episode, I'm going to teach you how to read your body basically and your symptoms and how to tell if the treatments you're engaging in are actually helping you improve your state, your level of health. And I'm specifically going to use homeopathy as a key example because it's a form of medicine, of alternative holistic medicine that has this unique, profound ability to get to the root of symptoms. But I really want to mention that even if you engage in conventional medicine, if you seek out alternative medicine, literally all forms of medicine can have a suppressive impact on the body and the body's healing process. So I just want to say flat out that we have to know how to read the body's symptoms and how the body responds to a treatment to actually see if it's helping to improve our state of health, okay? Because all forms of medicine can actually move us in the direction of symptom suppression. Not all forms of medicine can help us get to a cure state, a healthier state. Homeopathy is one of the medicines that can go there. Of course, there are a lot of diverse medicines that can help improve our health. So I just want you to keep that in mind. One medicine that completely suppresses all treatments, no matter what they are, prescription medicines, surgeries, etc., these are all based on suppression, and that's Western medicine, allopathic medicine. Their medicines are based on suppression. They actually can't move the body into a cure because their medicines drive the pathology deeper into the body because their medicines are based on symptom suppression. So if you get a cough, it's like, how do we just make that cough go away? It's not how do we treat what's actually causing the cough, or how do we treat what's actually causing the depression, or how do we treat what's actually causing the constipation, right? No, it's just how do we make that symptom go away? And so this is how Western medicine approaches healing, right? And that's not even healing. It's just symptom suppression, and it keeps people sick. So it's important to know that, yes, there might be times where Western medicine is necessary. It's like you absolutely need it. It's going to save your life for the time being, for the short term. And so then those are times to, explore Western medicine. However, most cases, or I should say many cases of health and our symptoms, how they present, they don't typically need emergency care from the Western medical field. Now, again, you're going to have to tune into your body and really detect that for yourself and consult with professionals to help you determine what direction you should go if you're kind of in that boat. But I just want you to be aware of that the medicines, the drugs that Western medicine uses are all based on symptom suppression. So when we suppress a symptom, our level of health actually diminishes, okay? So even though we, let's say, take antibiotics for bronchitis, right? And that bronchitis goes away. However, a week, a month, a year later, right? The time frame is going to vary, but we get a new symptom. So let's say within a year of taking strong antibiotics for bronchitis or pneumonia, then you have sleep issues and chronic constipation and depression. So we don't connect the dots here that the suppressive mechanism we went about to treat the pneumonia is now actually showing up as the same disease or pathology on a deeper level of health. So what I mean by that is the pneumonia actually wasn't treated. We just treated the symptoms by suppressing them. We didn't actually treat the whole organism, right? And so in turn, when that happens, the pathology goes deeper and new symptoms emerge. Okay. And I'll talk more about that as we get into the episode. But once and then we start to have new symptoms come about, okay, as a result. And this could be anywhere from, a few days later to a few months later to a year later, okay? And we typically don't connect the dots that the suppressive treatment is now causing this new thing because we think it's just a new thing that's coming about. However, they're almost always directly connected. So let's get into this here because it's really important for you as just individuals who are interested in health and healing. And I'm guessing from an alternative and holistic perspective, since you're listening into this podcast, we really want to be able to gauge what our symptoms are telling us and if the treatment that we're actually choosing is helping to improve our level of health. So as a preface, when you get a symptom, I would encourage you to, and of course you have to make your own health decisions, but I would encourage you to really view that symptom from a different perspective if you're not already. It's not necessarily a bad thing. Literally, the symptoms that we experience are expressions of our immune system that says, this is the way I'm fighting disease, right? So your symptoms are the way your immune system, your defense system is fighting disease. So if we are to suppress that, we're going to stop the healing process and push the pathology deeper into the body. When that happens, it takes a lot longer to actually heal the condition and the pathology when you go about medicines that actually can help to heal and not suppress. So the more we suppress, the longer it's going to take for each individual to achieve their own unique cure, whatever that means to them. So I've got 5 core ways of how you can tell if the treatment that you're undergoing is actually helping you move towards health, or is it suppressing your health? Is it moving you in a backwards direction, or are you treading water? And really, these are 5 key signs that we use in homeopathy to detect how the homeopathic remedy is acting. So just because you get an alternative medicine or a natural medicine or even a homeopathic remedy, it doesn't mean that you're not suppressing your symptoms. You very well could be. So we always want to pay attention to how the body reacts when we give it any substance to see what direction it's actually moving our health in. And these are 5 core ways that we can use to detect, hey, how is this modality acting? How is it impacting my health? Is it helping me improve? And we specifically use these in the practice of homeopathy to detect in which direction the pathology, the health is moving towards. So those 5 key elements are reverse symptoms, number 1, number 2, mental emotional health, number 3, emotionally worse, physically better, number 4, physical symptoms intensify, and number 5, an overall feeling of well-being. I'm going to break these down for you here so you can understand and apply these to your own healing process. And these will specifically be super helpful for anyone undergoing homeopathic care. Really, I wanted to do this episode because a lot of my clients who engage in homeopathy work with me. They have a lot of questions. They want to know what to expect. And also, people don't understand that, I know I didn't for a long time, that any modality can suppress symptoms. So it's really good to understand these 5 core elements that can guide and gauge our healing process to determine what direction our healing is really moving towards. So let's get into these and start with number 1, reverse symptoms. So one way we can tell if a homeopathic remedy is working in a positive direction, meaning your level of health is improving and you are not suppressing symptoms, is that the symptoms start to leave your body in the reverse order that you got them in. Let's, for example, say your chief complaint is constipation, but before the constipation, you had acne. And before the acne, you had asthma. And before the asthma, maybe you had a runny nose on the right side, okay? Once you start homeopathic care or engage in healing that helps to no longer suppress symptoms, but actually move you towards an enhanced state of health, you can actually see the symptoms start coming out in the reverse order that you experience them. So what this means is that your chief complaint will clear first, typically the constipation, and then you might see some acne coming back, right? Because that's the condition you had right before the constipation. Now, when this happens, when the symptom that our chief complaint starts to get better, however, a new symptom comes up, a lot of people freak out because we're just taught that we shouldn't have any symptoms. We should feel good all the time. We should go through life and feel amazing all the time. we're actually supposed to get sick. We're actually supposed to get fevers. We're supposed to get acute illnesses, colds, flus, etc., because this is the way that our immune system stays strong. It's like taking our immune system to the gym when we come in contact with a germ, with some kind of pathogen. This is actually a way our body cleans house. When we start to see acutes go away, so you're no longer able to get a fever, you don't really get colds or flus, etc., this is actually a big red flag. It doesn't actually mean you're healthy. It means that your immune system is really suppressed and it needs to go back to the gym. It needs a workout. And in order to help bring the immune system out of suppression, we have to remove all of the pathogens and the pathology that are weighing down the immune system and suppressing its action and keeping us actually really sick by doing so. So when your symptoms start to come out, and we can see this sometimes in reverse order when we engage in homeopathic care and you've got the correct remedy, this is a sign that you've got the correct remedy. Your body's moving towards an improved state of health. When you start to see symptoms come out in reverse order. So try not to freak out or panic if you're engaged in homeopathic care or if you're engaged in another form of medicine that helps to clear root causes of pathology and disease. This is actually a very beneficial and positive sign. So it's also a very positive sign when things start to come out of the skin. In the next episode, actually, I'm going to talk all about skin disorders, what they mean, how to read them, how to approach them from a root place. But when we see things start to come out of the skin, especially after we've engaged in some sort of natural care, especially homeopathy care, where we're focused on improved states of health versus symptom suppression, things are going to start to come out. We need them to come out because they're inside your body. And if they're inside your body, they're suppressing your immune system and they're making you sick long term. We actually need those things to come out. And a typical way, a classic way that things come out are through the skin. And so in homeopathy especially, this is typically a very favorable sign when after you take a remedy, you start to have something show up on the skin. Okay, whether you've had acne in the past or skin eruptions in the past or herpes outbreaks in the past, etc., likely the things that start to come out, they have been suppressed and they actually need to come out. So if you've been prescribed the correct remedy, you should actually see an aggravation of symptoms because that means we're getting to new layers, right? We've just busted through an old layer. Here we go. We're enhancing our level of health. And by doing so, the defense system is clearing house, okay? Keep this in mind when you're engaged in especially homeopathic care. This is one very beneficial sign. If you're searching for deeper healing, I'd love to help you get there. Whether you're struggling with a chronic health condition, maybe a condition that Western medicine has no effective treatment methods for, maybe a condition that other practitioners are having trouble pinpointing, or if you're struggling with an acute ailment, cold, flu, cough, bronchitis, seasonal allergies, then I invite you to set up a homeopathic consultation with me. To do so, you can contact me at heather.shepherd@gmail.com. That's HEATHAR.shepherd, SHEPARD@gmail.com, or head over to my site, heathershepherd.com, and book a session to start accessing root causes of your health struggles and to start improving your level of health. Now, let's head back to the episode all about healing. Number 2, the mental emotional health improves long term, not just for a day or like a week, but after you've taken a remedy or after you've engaged in a treatment that's moving you towards improved health, you actually see your mental emotional health improve long term. This is a great sign that the remedy is working. My teacher and a really amazing homeopath, Dr. Vithalkas, he has a great book out on the levels of health. And we can see from these models that mental disturbances on the mental level of health, this is the deepest level that we can be impacted. So the pathology is super deep if we're in our mental health, if our mental health is struggling. And then peripheral to that is the emotional layer, okay? Things like anxiety, things like phobias. These things are considered to be on the emotional layer. That's on the periphery to the mental health. And then on the very outside is the physical layer. It's on the very outer layer. So if you're someone who's just having physical symptoms without mental emotional symptoms, your health is likely pretty good in a pretty good way, and it's likely not going to take a long time to get you towards an improved state of health and towards your definition of cure, whatever that might be for you. When the mental emotional levels and layers are involved, this typically is going to take longer to get to cure because the pathology is in the deeper levels of the body. So when we see an improvement on the mental emotional layers after you've taken a remedy, this is a very, very positive sign, especially when those mental emotional improvements stay long term, unless you do something to antidote your remedy, right? Let's say you take a remedy and your mental emotional health improves, but your physical health doesn't improve. That's actually okay. This is a sign, it's a very positive sign that you're moving towards an improved state of health. Okay. So I really want you to keep this in mind because it's important to gauge how the remedy, how the treatment is actually working and what level of health it's actually working on with you. And I want to give you an example here of what this could look like because I recently had a client with a lot of symptoms. Most people have a lot of symptoms. It's just a result of living in the modern world today. And our medical system is totally based on suppression. And that's what most of us have been subject to for most of our lives thus far. So this patient came in with lots of symptoms, physical symptoms, a cancer history, lots of body pain, tremendous anxiety, especially around cancer. And so whenever we see the mental emotional state and, that has a primary symptom like advanced levels of anxiety, like anxiety that rules your life or a mental disturbance that's ruling your life, we need to take these symptoms into account primarily because they're on the deeper layers. And until these primary mental emotional symptoms are removed, then we can't fully access what's causing the physical disturbances. And often the mental emotional disharmonies are actually really linked to the physical disharmonies as well. Everything is super connected. So this individual came in, even though there's 1,000 things going on with her health, right? And most people there are. And especially this person also had cancer, is just getting over cancer, has gone through conventional treatment, has a lot of pain, cancer history, right? People tend to focus, let's focus on the cancer. Let's focus on the cancer. But the anxiety around the cancer was so strong that this layer actually had to be removed first in order for us to get to what's actually causing the cancer, right? And this layer is actually contributing to the cancer. So she took the remedy that I prescribed, and literally the next day she reported, I'm 75% better emotionally the day after the remedy. And then what happened? The pain started to go away. These are all very positive signs that we're getting to deeper layers and that we're moving towards an enhanced and improved state of health. A lot of times when we go about our symptoms, having them go away, we've got a diagnosis, we got type 2 diabetes, we have cancer, we have obesity, we have osteoporosis. The hang up here, the issue with how we're going about treating these things is we're focusing on the pathology and we're not focusing on the person. If we want to get better, we have to focus on the person and their mental, emotional, and physical symptoms that are unique to them. So when we see an improvement in the mental, emotional levels of health, that's a very good sign that we're moving towards an improved state of health. Number 3, if you've just taken a remedy, if you've engaged in a treatment and you're emotionally worse, but physically better, this is a red flag. So the physical level, right, that's on the periphery. That's on the very outer level. And the emotional level we know is deep. It's deeper in the body than the physical layer. And again, you can read Levels of Health by Dr. Vitholkas to really go into depth about this topic. So when we see the person emotionally worse, physically better, big red flag. This tells us that a suppression likely occurred and healing is moving in an undesirable direction. We really want to pay attention to this because if the remedy or modality is working, then we're actually going to see an improvement in that emotional level and then maybe the physical level. The physical level might not even start to improve at first, but the emotional level, when there's deep emotional issues at play, these areas really need to improve first. So somebody, for example, let's say they've taken a remedy and they came in, they had constipation, they had poor sleep, they had low energy, and they had a lot of anxiety or a lot of worry. And you give them the remedy and then their constipation goes away. They're sleeping like a baby. The patient is going to think, oh, this is a great sign. I'm doing better. I'm doing great. However, emotionally, they have more anxiety and they're worried more. They're really, really worried. They're worried about their work. They're worried about their kids, whatever it is. They're worried. Okay. And that worry is really, really taking up a lot of space in their life, in their healing process. It's a big deal. So we need to pay attention to this because as soon as the individual gets another remedy that's more in alignment with what they originally needed, and then the constipation comes back, and then the poor sleep comes back, and then the low energy comes back, but the anxiety and the worry go away, then they start to get concerned. But from a healing perspective, the latter is actually a huge positive sign that we're moving in a positive direction with health, okay? Because we're just going towards the physical symptoms, which are on the peripheral layer, right? So keep that in mind after you take a remedy. Maybe you're a homeopath and you prescribe a remedy. Maybe you're an alternative practitioner and you give a treatment. These are things to keep an eye out for to see what direction the healing is going in. Number 4, physical symptoms intensify. When I talk about physical symptoms intensify, and really everything I've discussed up until this point, I'm talking about chronic conditions. In acute conditions, when you give homeopathy, if you get the right remedy, you should see an almost immediate improvement in symptoms. Pneumonia, a cold, a fever, a flu, any acute condition, when you give the correct remedy, you're not going to often see these issues I'm talking about. You're just going to see an improvement with whatever acute condition the individual is presenting with. Now, once the acute condition is cleared, then you can see the actual layer of health that the individual is at. Okay, so then you can get more into what's going on chronically with the individual. So when you're going about treating an acute condition, you always want to treat the acute condition first before you start to get into any like root issues or constitutional issues. We have to clear the acute condition first, right? So number 4, physical symptoms intensify. This typically is not the case when it comes to acute conditions, okay? I'm referring to chronic conditions. There's a little bit of, I should know, if you're treating a skin condition, depending on which remedy is needed for the skin condition, the skin condition can actually get worse. Symptoms can intensify a little bit before it gets better. So I want to add that in. If you have a relatively like an acute skin condition or a chronic skin condition, the skin condition can actually get worse before it gets better. But in general, when it comes to physical symptoms intensify when you're treating a chronic condition, what happens is when the physical symptoms are aggravated, when they're worse, this can actually be a really good sign that your immune system, that your defense system is fighting off the pathogen. So unlike Western medicine, when we go in, oh, I have this skin rash, give me a cream. You put the cream on, the symptoms go away. You think you're cured and you're better. You're not. You just push the pathogen down deeper. We've all done it. Sometimes we have to do it to get through life, etc. However, it's just important to know the pathogen went down deeper. In homeopathic care, specifically, when your physical symptoms get aggravated, this tends to be a very good sign that the defense system is responding. It's fighting off the pathogen, okay? So remember that your symptoms are your body's self-defense mechanism. If your body is giving you a symptom, it's because it's trying to prevent the pathology from going deeper into your body. This is your body's way of fighting disease and preventing disease. So after your remedy, if you see a symptom intensify, typically this lasts for a short period of time as your defense system starts to clear it from your body. This can be anything from 1 to 3 days to up to 14 to 20 days, typically max, right? The key thing is, if your symptoms intensify, don't suppress the symptoms. You want them to come out. This is exactly what we want to see. It's your body healing, right? And so we want to be with the process unless the symptoms get to a life-threatening point. Symptoms, the response to a remedy might get to a life-threatening point in a very, very deep pathology. Let's say somebody has very advanced stage of cancer, right? Or a very advanced skin condition where the boils are leaking stuff out and uncontrollably. You take the remedy, the boils start to go away, but then you get something like a sepsis infection, okay? These are extreme cases. Most people aren't going to go through that who are seeking out homeopathy anyway, right? But we want to keep this in mind because when we're treating someone, we have to know that more symptoms are likely going to come out as the body heals, advances in levels of health. So these are important things to know. Don't suppress unless your life is literally in danger, okay? And if you want to know if your life's in danger, 1, pay attention to your body. 2, seek out help from a knowledgeable, level-headed medical professional who's not just going to immediately go to symptom suppression unless you absolutely need to, okay? So another thing I want to mention is acutes, because after you take a remedy, it's a very good sign that you're improving your level of health if you get an acute, okay? So meaning you get a fever, you get a cold, you get a flu, etc. This is your body's way of cleaning house and strengthening your immune system. Usually, in order to go through this process of getting an acute after a remedy, it can take 1 to 3 to 6, 9, 12 months, okay? When you take a remedy, that remedy is going to act on your immune system, on your body for months and months and months and months at a time if you're given the correct remedy. So we don't want to interfere with that process by suppressing symptoms, by adding in another homeopathic remedy too early, by taking combination homeopathic remedies. These are all no-nos and big red flags. We don't want to do that. We want to allow the remedy time to act. Most people want to take something immediately because another symptom comes up or they're getting an acute. And typically we want the disorder to run its course because it's going to be your immune system moving towards an improved level of health. So if you're under homeopathic care, it's important to let the remedy play itself out, especially I'm talking about in chronic conditions, and to make a big effort to not antidote your remedy. This is a big deal because 1, the homeopath puts in a lot of time and effort in order to get you the correct remedy. And 2, when you do have the correct remedy, this is like magic for your body, for your health, for your immune system, for improving your state of health, for living a long, healthier life. And so we really want to take measures to not antidote the remedy. So some main elements that will antidote remedies are cannabis, essential oils, coffee. These will antidote the remedy. And people think, oh, I should just avoid those things for a few days or a few weeks, whatever, no big deal, then add it back in. If we're treating a chronic condition, and you've been prescribed a remedy from your homeopath and it's acting in a positive way, you can tell, your homeopath can tell it's really improving your level of health. You will do your health, your well-being, your healing process a much better service if you avoid those things for literally, I've heard the recommendation to be 3 years. So we're talking about caffeinated coffee, any cannabis product, essential oils, and a lot of things have been coming in about mint, but mint has been shown to not antidote remedies. Avoid it for 24 hours. You should be fine unless you're taking Natrum muriaticum, which is a remedy that tends to get antidoted by mint, even in the long term. All other remedies seem to do fine in the provings with mint after a 24-hour period. So let's go to number 5. Overall, you feel better. So after you take the remedy, after you've engaged in a therapy that's moving you towards an improved state of health, you feel better overall. Your general well-being is improved. You have more energy. You're feeling better. This is a key sign, especially long-term, you're feeling better, that the remedy and or the modality is acting in a very positive way. I hope that you found this episode informative, and I really encourage you to use it as you engage in treatments, as you engage in homeopathic care, to gauge, to guide you. How's the remedy acting? How's the therapy acting? Is it moving me towards an improved state of health? Is it suppressing my health, and do I need to intervene and go a different direction to stop the pathology from going deeper? We would all do ourselves a huge benefit by just learning how our body responds to certain treatments, modalities, homeopathic care, and just so we can be more in tune with our body's healing process. So have fun implementing these into your new self-care, healthcare, radical approach to health. Thanks so much to all of you who tuned into the episode today all about healing. When I first started on my healing path, I literally had no idea what healing really meant. I had the belief that anything alternative medicine related would move me towards an improved state of health. However, I often didn't see long-term improvement with my health as a result of all the time, money, and energy I was investing in those treatments and modalities. Thankfully, my path led me to understand more deeply what true healing looks like, what true healing requires, and how to tell if the modalities that I'm actually engaged in are moving and benefiting me and my health. For myself personally and my radical health practice, homeopathy has been a staple in helping me and my clients move towards improved levels of health. And I hope that this episode helped you grasp more fully the essence of healing and what a true picture of improved health actually looks like modern day. For those of you who enjoyed this episode, I would love for you to post a 5-star review with your comments and support. This is such an amazing way to fuel and motivate my continued podcasting and sharing via this platform. And it's an awesome way to help spread the word to others searching for deeper answers around their health. I thank you so much for that support. As always, you can follow me on Instagram at sunlight_rx or on Facebook, Heather Shepherd, and visit me on my site, heathershepherd.com, where my Metabolic Reset course info, recipes, and Radical Health blog are all located. Keep up the awesome healing work, everyone, and I'll see you next week. The Primal Pioneer podcast is not intended to diagnose, treat, or cure any disease in the Western medical sense or terms. It is to be used for educational and informational purposes only. The information shared on this podcast and all of Heather Shepherd's work is not a form of diagnostic medicine, nor is it a medical treatment. Heather Shepherd is a health educator, radical health practitioner, and a trained EMF specialist. And although she has a bachelor's in science and master's education in alternative medicine, she is not a medical doctor and does not give medical advice. Her work and sharing is to be used for informational and educational purposes only.